Hi, Parkway Manor. Happy Monday. It's our last week of the school year. I can't believe it. We're also going to be finishing our book Dessert first. We are on chapter 17. And last time we read, Dessert came up with an idea to show her mom and dad how sorry she was for eating the double D bars. So she decided that she was going to make another batch for her mother using her grandmother's recipe. And her plan was to go to the restaurant and have the chef there help her with that. Well, she is working, helping out, of course. And sadly, Amy D, remember the girl that she does not care for very much, her older sister's having a party there. And Dessert has to kind of be in charge of waiting on them. So it hasn't been a super pleasant experience so far. Chapter 17, The Crises. And that's when the tears came. They were rolling down and I couldn't stop them. I headed straight into the kitchen and went back behind the pastry station. At least it was a little private. Amy D had tricked me. The leaf stuffer tricked me. The tears came pouring out. I couldn't stand her, and she was out there with all her sister's friends. I was alone. And now everyone thought that I was going to give up dessert for the duty drive. There was no going back. I'd have to do it now. And then there it was, a green Jolly Rancher over in the corner. A green Jolly Rancher that had not been opened. Sometimes a little thing like that can keep you going. So I picked it up, unwrapped it, and popped it in my mouth. Hey, no crying in my station. It was Dominique. Amy D's a witch, I said. She tricked me. Chin up, said Dominique. She must have a nice part. She doesn't, I said. Well, it might be hidden. Or not there, I said. Well, sometimes it's hard to find, she said. And she held out her arms to help me up. Then I remembered the recipe. It was sort of crumpled, but I took it out of my pocket. Hey, Dom, I said as I handed it to her. Do you think you can make these for my grandma? If it's not fondue, I can make it. Let me see. She looked at the recipe. Fairly basic. Chocolate, sugar, eggs. I can do it. I hugged her hard. Now stop it, she said. It's only a recipe. Gaston let me wash skewers and plates and pots for the rest of my shift. I was in the sink up to my armpits, and I'd been washing for a long time when I'd heard, "So long, Dessert." Of course, it was evil Amy. Dom was definitely wrong about everybody having a nice part, because there was no way Amy D had one. But a short while later, Dom appeared with a heavenly tray of double-decker bars, the most perfect I'd ever seen, and I knew that I would do it all again if it meant I would have a tray to take home to give to Mom. These things are good, she said. Where's the recipe from? Oh, it came from my grandma, I said. Well, I'm going to put them on the menu, she said. What shall I call them? We call them double-deckers, I told her. What was her name again? Grandma Rain, I said. Well, then they'll be Grandma Rain's double-deckers, she said. Yes. Oh, may I be the critic? Asked Gaston, joining us. Okay, I said. Dom handed one to Gaston and wrapped the rest up for me. Oh, c'est divin, said Gaston, which means it's the best tasting thing in the world. I didn't know how to thank Dom the right way, and I felt like I was going to cry again, so I said, You're the best. And she said, Don't forget it. Chapter 18, The Bad, the Good, and the New. Around 6 that evening, Mummy said, Would you please set the table? Piece of cake, I said, and I set out all the dessert plates. Then I put the double D's in the middle, covered with a tea towel. What's under the towel, Mummy asked. Oh, it's a surprise, I said. And when everybody was seated, I looked at the beasties and I said, This is for Grandma Rain, who went on before you were born. I looked at Charlie and said, This is for Grandma Rain, who went on when you were 2. And then I looked at Mummy and Daddy and I said, This is for our Grandma Rain, who found the recipe in an overhead luggage compartment. And I slowly pulled off the towel and gave each person in my family a double-decker chocolate bar, as I said, I'm sorry. Your grandmother would be proud of you, Mummy said. I know I am. I think think she'd like Dom too, I said. And I have another surprise. Another, said Mummy. There's a new dessert on the menu at Fondue, I said. Says who, said Dad. I'm in charge. Says Dom. The new dessert is called Grandma Rain's Double Deckers. Dom thinks they're good. And then I looked at them both and added, I couldn't have made them without her. Mummy's eyes didn't just crinkle, they were really smiling. My mother would have said it was all meant to be. The bad, the good, and the new. The bad, the good, and the new. They all fit together. I felt like myself again. I was forgiven. Chapter 19, The Contract. At supper the next day, Mummy said, let's fill out the contract for the duty drive. I'm afraid we'll lose it if we don't do it right now. What did you decide you're going to give up, dessert? Dessert, I said. There was silence. I'm giving up dessert, I said. Mummy and Daddy just stared at me. So I sang, hello, is anybody home? I'm giving up dessert. Mummy went white. Did you say you're giving up dessert? Yes, Mummy, I am giving up dessert. One question, said Daddy. Why? Not telling, I said. Couldn't you pick something reasonable? Asked Dad. Yes, honey, I think this is going to be very hard for you, said Mummy. We do have dessert every night before dinner. Did you think about that? I can do it, she said. Okay, well then let's look at this contract. Okay, this seems pretty clean. I just want to make sure you understand your commitment. No dessert for 2 weeks. Are there any other rules, I asked. Nope, it's all pretty clear. No troubling fine print. Just give up dessert, right? I said. Oh, and we have to pledge you, Dad said. Let's see. 2 weeks is 14 days. Okay, I'll give you $2 a day. 2, I said. How about 3? It's not like I'm giving up mayonnaise, Dad. I'm giving up dessert. Point well taken, dessert, said Daddy. $3 it is. Okay, let's sign the contract. Here's a picture of the contract. We'll read one more chapter. I'm hooked. Chapter 20. No dessert for dessert. That very next Monday was the first day of the duty drive. I gave my contract to Mrs. Howdy Doody. Dessert, Schneider, she said. You are giving up dessert? The kind that comes after a meal? Well, actually, the kind that comes before a meal in the Schneider house. We march to our own drummer. Oh, very good, said Mrs. Howdy Doody. This will be a real sacrifice for you, but I know you can do it. I knew I could do it too, especially because Daddy told me there was no fine print. Just as Mummy had predicted, we did have dessert that night. Daddy wasn't there because there was a roof leak at Fondue. Our table was set, but I saw only 4 little plates. Each one had a petite square on it. A petite four is a tiny, tiny cake with tiny, tiny layers. It has different kinds of tasty filling within each layer, and beautiful colored icing on top. A petite four looks like the most delicate and dainty gift in the world. Wolfgang had a pink one, and Mummy and Charlie had chocolate ones. Mummy, where's my petite square? Where's my petite four? I asked. You don't have one. Remember, dessert, you gave up dessert for the duty drive. Oh, Mummy, I have pledged to make a difference, but that doesn't mean there shouldn't be one on my plate. There's all the more reason for me to have a petite four tonight, so I can give it up. Are you sure you want me to put one on your plate? Yes, I said. So, Mummy brought over a sky blue petite four and put it on my plate. I am now going to give up a petite four. And I walked behind the counter and opened a drawer. Just as I expected, there was aluminum foil. I pulled off a small square and I wrapped my little cake up. Then I went to another drawer and took out a roll of masking tape. And I put a small piece on my package, and on the tape I wrote, Sky Blue Petite Four. Then I put the little package in a grocery bag and said, I'll be right back. I went downstairs to the freezer and placed my bag inside. What a good idea. By the time I came up, they had all finished their petite fours, and I said, Mummy, I'd be delighted to clear the dessert plates. Dessert, said Mummy. Did you just wrap up your petite four and put it in the freezer? Yep. Daddy said there was no fine print in my contract. Well, I suppose that's true, said Mummy. And that is the end of our chapter. Stay tuned tomorrow, where I believe we are going to finish this book. I remember last time I said there were 23 chapters, so I think tomorrow we'll be able to finish the book. All right, I hope everybody has a marvelous Monday, and I will see you tomorrow for more of Dessert First. Have a super day, everybody. See you soon.